fear over electoral rigging rocks Zimbabwe as the country.
Yesterday, after listening to Prime Minister May's assessment of the state of the negotiations,
why it is our diocesan patron feast day is because the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Assumption is dedicated.
Do not have it in their mindset or in their psyche that we are playing against Algeria.
57 vehicles, you are giving it to parliamentarians. Where is the source? The parliamentarians themselves should challenge that.
Yes, APRC and GDC are opposition. All other parties, that doesn't concern either UDP or NRP or PDP, they are all in the government.
So we better want to
Man, dama against ID card mu nekk $450. Man mosuma si ànd te du mosuma sa ànd.
yow xaalis boobu nu mu fa ñëwee loolu nga war a njëkk a laajte because social security institution doo xam ne social security warut a ñàkk a xaalis yëfi profit social security loolu waxtaani banda la loolu dafa war a automatique.
Barrow lu ma ko ñaan mooy na wàcce 3 years am su demee 5 years dafa am problème leadership bu fi bàyyi dafa bon right now amul direction bu correct réew mi ñëpp seen am na disappointment si nguuri Barrow.
benn nit mënut a jagal réew da ngaa def li nga war a def bàyyi keneen ñu continuer
Visiting Sierra Leonean President, His Excellency Madabio, has called on Gambians to embrace the ongoing Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission as it will bring lessons which can be incorporated in upcoming agenda. United Nations Special Envoy for Education has appealed for urgent new funding for over 30 million displaced and refugee young people who are presently out of school. Egyptian authorities today executed 9 youths convicted of assassinating the country's prosecutor general in 2015 despite calls by international human rights organizations. These are the headlines, more coming on your way on The World Today. It's midnight in Istanbul, 1 a.m. in Washington State, 2100 GMT here in the Gambia. You're watching The World Today Evening Bulletin. We now kick off with our first story. The visiting Sierra Leonean President, His Excellency Madabio, has called on Gambians to embrace the ongoing Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, saying there is a need for it and Gambians should learn from the past and focus on the future as the way forward. He said the TRRC is not meant to bring back wounds, but to make sure past mistakes wouldn't repeat. Al-Hassan Sise gives us more on that.
Visiting Sierra Leonean President, His Excellency Madabio, this morning had a tete-a-tete with President Adama Barrow at the State House to discuss issues of common interest. Speaking at the press briefing after the tete-a-tete, His Excellency Mada Bio said the discussion centered on mapping out mechanisms to strengthen the relationship of the two countries. He added to share concern of economic and political challenges and that they have identified issues to work hand in glove to sort them out as partners.
Our two countries have had a very long relationship spanning over 300 years. And the relationship has been healthy. We want to take it to higher heights. We want to deepen this relationship. We want to widen this relationship for the benefit of our two countries. Of course, we share a lot in common today in terms of politics, in terms of the economy, in terms of the challenges we face as leaders. So we are trying to, we have compared notes and we have identified areas where we can work together, share contacts, and share our experiences. This is basically what this meeting has been about.
President Mada Bio emphasized the need for a Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission and stressed that Gambians should learn from the past and focus on the future as the way forward. He said Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commissions aren't meant to bring back wounds but to make sure past mistakes wouldn't be repeated. He further said the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission will bring certain lessons which can be incorporated to help upcoming agendas. He challenged Gambians to make effort in catching up with other countries and not sit and grumble over the past. Instead, make an effort to move into the future.
But I think, in my opinion, or from our own diagnosis, what was missing was the political will to push forward the agenda for anti-corruption. We have given them the freedom they require to be able to prosecute those who are found wanting, and we are also giving them support. But besides that, what we have done, or in addition to that, is we have set up a commission of inquiry because our people elected us to office because they wanted change, and corruption had become a fashion. And we know it's a threat to national development and national security. So we have set up a commission of inquiry which has started, and it's just an investigation so that people can give stewardship for their time in office. That has started, and it resonates very well.
President Barrow outlined the tenderness of Gambia's democracy and Gambians should learn from the past and focus on the future. He added their focus is to build institutions to guide the country. Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission is in progress and the Constitutional Review Commission, he remarked. These are the reform process to change the mindsets because the system was polluted. He emphasized the National Development Plan is the guide of the country and all the plans are inclusive in the National Development Plan. President Barrow further said his government is willing to learn from all countries. That is why he is together with President Mada to share experience.
Our main focus is to build our institution, as I said. The Truth and Reconciliation is on. Constitutional Review Commission is on. These are reform process to change the mindset. Because the mindset is a big problem. The system was polluted. And in changing that, you have to change the mindset. But today we have a guide, that is our National Development Plan. Everybody, even the primary school student, knows about the National Development Plan. That is the guide for the government. That guide is up to 2021. I think all of this is inclusive in that National Development Plan. So these are the things that we are focused on, but we are still more than willing to learn from other countries. They said if you learn and listen, you can always progress. So we cannot thank Mada Bio enough for coming to the Gambia. He is a brother and he is a friend. We have a lot to learn from Sierra Leone. That's why today we are here together to share experiences and learn from each other and collaborate also and move our continent forward.
His Excellency Mada Bio and his First Lady arrived in the Gambia yesterday for a 4-day state visit in the Gambia. Reporting for Eyeafrica TV, I am Al-Hassan Sise.
High Representative and Vice President of the European Commission, Federica Mogherini, met with the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi. Together with a strong high-level congressional delegation in the discussions, they confirmed the crucial importance of maintaining a strong transatlantic partnership through continued cooperation and dialogue in a wide array of fields, such as trade, climate change, and also human rights. The EU and US delegations also exchanged views on foreign policy issues and discussed the latest developments in Venezuela, the Middle East, Afghanistan, the Western Balkans, Ukraine, and Russia. High Representative and Vice President Mogherini and Speaker Pelosi confirmed the importance of safeguarding multilateralism and the international rules-based order in promoting democratic values. United States Secretary of State Michael R. Pompeo has congratulated the people of the Gambia on the occasion of the 54th Independence Day celebrations of February 18. The congratulatory message reaffirms the U.S. government's continuous commitment to a strong partnership with the Gambia and look forward to continued cooperation on efforts to promote democracy, good governance, and economic growth. The United States celebrates with the Gambia as you honor this historic day. The Gambia-U.S. relationship started in 1943 when the then-President Franklin D. Roosevelt, en route to Casablanca for a conference and then to Liberia, stopped in Banjul. U.S. policy seeks to build improved relations with the Gambia on the basis of historical ties, mutual respect, democratic rule, human rights, and adherence to UN resolutions on counterterrorism, conflict diamonds, and other forms of trafficking. Fajikunda-based non-governmental organization Vision Development Foundation on Saturday distributed over 450,000 to different communities and associations. The life-changing event took place at the Sanchaba football grounds where 6 communities from West Coast region adopted the Vision Development Foundation CEO Modutro Dabo as father. Sajid Sambu attended the event and filed in this report.
Farato Bojankunda, Sambuya, Mahmuda, Sukuta, Newtown, Busumbal and Mediana communities or locally called Kafu converge at the Sanchaba community football grounds to adopt the Gambia's most profound philanthropist Modu Turo Dabo as their godfather. The 6 communities from the West Coast region led by Councillor Suleiman Kinte of Burufutu Ward adopted the Vision Development Foundation CEO Modu Turo Dabo as their sole savior and further exhorting him to ease their burden and distress. On his arrival at the venue, the CEO was welcomed by the congregation at the highway down to the football field in his black-green flashing note banks in the air. The VDF chief sponsor Turo Dabo is known for his benevolent gesture to humanity for the past 24 years, rendering support in all aspects of life through the foundation. The aim of the gathering is to adopt Turo as their godfather so that he can help the communities address their problem, even whereby he can't solve it all. But they believe with Turo, the future of their communities is bright.
This gathering is very important because it's about 6 villages that sent a request to Modutro Dabo to catch him as their father and their brother. That is Madiana, Brufut, Madiana, Sukuta, Farado Bojankunda, you have Mahmuda, and you have Sambuya. So these are 6 villages that catch Modutro Dabo as their father and their brother. That's what we're here for.
The foundation public relations officer Sekou Fofana said 24 years back the CEO Turo Dabo decided to give back to society and went on to set up the foundation. He went on to say Modu's intention is to help the poor to elevate their status in society, but was quick to tell the gathering that the foundation is a self-sponsored entity.
B. Nyimbankun kanjang NGO bijang o mo mondin bijang minka makoy roke. Nsafo nimo makoyro lo Modutro Dabo la bari ye fen sunya la makoyro to le because ate kam makoyro ke sifa wo sifa ya long Modutro Dabo ka makoyro ke atul be yolo Momodu le ka fengol cikala fengol cikaka dinna mbenga lon ko dimba le babu sain ntel nate jumal la julobe jumal atel la julobe tol sain tol bala julo jola nyaadi le ni misil mol be benta jambe min fulale wala nyinti ko nal tata alla jamangol to alim benga kafunyola na duake Modutro Dabo.
Before sharing out over 460,000 to the different communities and associations gathered to attend the inauguration, the Vision Development Foundation CEO Modutro Dabo was curious to know why the communities take him to be their guiding angel.
Ndolañin development meta kanne sanyi muang anim fensayim binde men datila o yatara mamuso fansoto namuna politiko sambaje ndate politique kuto alla yirwani alla nyatota ndolbe woleto bari bide lafta yele malal falbe yele malam fele ba nindala malu fati ngale nyini ngale.
Turo mentioned that after the Sukuta rally, there might be a series of such to happen in the different communities and promised them of a continued funding from his foundation to the communities, hoping the union will bring unity among the foundation and the public. He warned them to put aside their political differences and be one.
Being ngambemen datila jang, abekela kuleti me alongo, abekela ku continuous tingleti. Ninga dalaso dialla, o dalaso me nga dialla, lafta aliake kuti me alongo asihiriwa dialla. Politiko kana tinna ali problemo sota damma. Politicianul ni binaje ni dingul buga dingul be university to siri nyaay dingul be la konko na do wurla nyokal be nyok fala ja alkana ke tole dide.
The day ended with the CEO giving to each of the 6 communities a dazzling amount of $55,000 as a startup to develop small-scale projects for their development. And the communities showed their excitement with eye-catching moments displayed from the Kankura masquerade. For Africa TV News, I am Sajo Sambu.
Well, viewers, coming up after the break, the U.S. is preparing a military intervention in Venezuela following an economic war against the South American country. Fear over electoral rigging rocks Zimbabwe as the country.
Yesterday, after listening to Prime Minister May's assessment of the state of the negotiations,
Welcome back, viewers. We remind you that you're watching the World Today Evening Bulletin. Let's now take a look at the remaining stories. The U.S. is preparing a military intervention in Venezuela following an economic war against the South American country, the Bolivian president said Wednesday. After attacking Venezuela economically, U.S. President Donald Trump is preparing a military intervention against that country, Evo Morales tweeted Wednesday. We vow to stop the violence, otherwise Trump will be responsible for the return of death and destruction that always accompany the war, he added. Venezuela has been rocked by protests since January 10 when President Nicolas Maduro was sworn in for a second term following a vote boycotted by the opposition. Tensions rose when Juan Guaido, who leads the Venezuela National Assembly, declared himself acting president January 23rd, a move which was supported by the U.S. and many European and Latin American countries. Russia, Turkey, China, Iran, Bolivia, and Mexico have put their weight behind Maduro. President Muhammadu Buhari has warned that anyone trying to tamper with Nigeria's postponed vote risks their lives and accused the Electoral Commission of incompetence. Buhari said anyone trying to steal or destroy ballot boxes and voting material in the election now scheduled to take place this coming Saturday would be dealt with firmly. Adama Kamara gives us more.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari said he has ordered the police and military to be ruthless with vote breakers as preparations were made for the scheduled elections. Presidential and parliamentary elections were put off just over 5 hours before polls were due to open on Saturday, causing widespread anger. New polls have been rescheduled for this Saturday, while governorship and state assembly elections have been pushed back to March 9. At an emergency meeting of his ruling All Progressive Congress Party APC in Abuja, Buhari said he intended to make sure the rescheduled ballot proceed without a hitch. I do not expect anybody to make any disturbance, he told senior party members. Anyone who decides to snatch ballot boxes or use stones to disturb the vote, maybe this will be the last unlawful action he will take. Buhari, 76, said he had ordered the military and the police to be ruthless to ensure all Nigerians can vote for their chosen candidate. I am going to warn anybody who thinks he has enough influence in his locality to lead a body of thorns or snatch ballot boxes or to disturb the voting system. He will do it at the expense of his life, the president added. Both the APC and the main opposition People Democratic Party PDP had been accused of wanting to rig the results, notably by buying biometric voters' identity cards. The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC blamed the last-minute delay on logistic difficulties in the distribution of elections materials as well as sabotage. Elections have been delayed before in Nigeria. In 2015. There was a 6-week postponement on security grounds linked to the Boko Haram conflict in northeast Nigeria. In 2011, the elections were held after it has already begun due to problems with non-delivery of ballot papers, resources and other voting materials. This year's election is the 6th in the 20 years since Nigeria returned to civilian rule after decades of military government. Some 84 million voters are registered. Reporting for Eyeafrica TV, I am Adama Kamara.
Egyptian authorities today executed 9 youths convicted of assassinating the country's prosecutor general in 2015, according to local media. The death sentence was carried out despite calls by international human rights organizations, including Amnesty International, for the Egyptian authorities to halt the execution. In November, the Court of Cassation, Egypt's highest appellate court, upheld the death sentence against the 9 after being convicted in the death of Hisham Barakat, who was killed in a car bombing in eastern Cairo. The son of senior Muslim Brotherhood leader Mohammed Taha Wahdan was among those condemned to death. Barakat was the highest Egyptian official to have been killed in a militant attack since 2013. Egyptian authorities have yet to confirm the executions. In February, Egyptian authorities executed 6 people in 2 different cases for killing the son of a judge and a senior police officer. Egypt was roiled by turmoil when the military deposed Mohamed Morsi, the country's first freely elected president, in a 2013 coup. United Nations Special Envoy for Education Gordon Brown appealed for urgent new funding for lost generations of over 30 million displaced and refugee young people. Speaking to reporters in New York, Brown said the urgency of talking about the 99% of the world's refugee children who are denied education, the estimated 3 million exodus in Venezuela, and 500,000 out-of-school children alone in the Central African Republic. Here is an insight. Let's take a look.
Of talking about this today comes not only as the Security Council is briefed on the difficult circumstances in Yemen affecting millions of children, but as this year starts with escalating crises, the estimated 3 million exodus from Venezuela, 500,000 out-of-school children alone in the Central African Republic, the need to reopen 1,000 schools in Afghanistan, where there are still 3.7 million out-of-school children, and the ongoing refugee crisis as a result of what is happening in Myanmar, in Sudan, in Syria, and in other parts of the world. Submerged the life vests on a boat that is trying to... The desolation of this lost generation was brought home to me over these last few months with reports from the Moria refugee camp in Greece, where no formal education is on offer to any of the hundreds of children who are there, and we found that 2 young boys, one only 10 years old, had attempted suicide. Now that's an age of 10 when life should be in front of you.
No one from the national newspaper. Thank you.
Over the last few years, of 2.1 million Syrian refugees who are outside of Syria, not just the displaced people within Syria, but outside Syria, about 1.4 million, about 2/3, are now in education in one way or another. And that has been a major success, although I'd like to see all children in school. But from a time when there were hardly any of the refugees at school in Lebanon, it's now something like 400,000.
Well, viewers, that's all we have for you on the World Today Evening Bulletin. For more on these and other stories, log on to our website, eyeafrica.tv. I am Fatma Tejaju. Bye for now.